He thought it was just aging, the fatigue, the shortness of breath, the strange skin rashes that came and went. It wasn't alarming, just annoying. And like most 72-year-olds, Richard chalked it up to getting old. Until his doctor said something that stopped him cold. Your liver enzymes are elevated, and I'm concerned about chronic inflammation. Inflammation? But he hadn't changed his diet, didn't drink much, and walked every day. Then came the strangest question from his nurse. Do you wash your belly button? Wait, what? It sounded absurd, but it led to something even more shocking. An infection near his navel had been slowly leaking bacteria into his bloodstream for months, silently raising inflammation markers, taxing his liver, and weakening his immune system. And the truth is, Richard isn't alone. Most people, especially older adults, miss key areas on their body when they shower, areas that, if left uncleaned, can cause real damage to the organs inside. Today, we're breaking the silence on 5 overlooked body parts you're probably washing wrong, and how it's affecting your heart, lungs, liver, and beyond. Because staying clean isn't just about feeling fresh. It's about living longer. In today's video, we're uncovering the 5 body parts most people think they're washing correctly, but actually aren't. And here's the surprising part. If these areas are neglected, they can trigger chronic inflammation that directly affects your heart, lungs, liver, and immune system. Yes, what seems like a simple hygiene mistake can turn into something far more serious over time. We're not here to scare you, but to gently guide you back to a habit that could help you or a loved one live a longer, healthier life, starting today. So whether you're in your 50s, 60s, or caring for someone who is, this message matters. Before we dive in, hit the subscribe button so you never miss life-changing tips like this one. And if you find this video helpful at any point, drop a like and share. It helps the algorithm reach more people who need to hear this. Now, let's get into it. Richard sat quietly in the examination room, trying to wrap his mind around what the nurse had just said. Your belly button might be infected. He laughed at first, assuming it was a joke. He wasn't some careless teenager. He showered every day, used soap, cleaned his face, underarms, even between his toes. But he never thought about his navel. And that's where our story begins. The belly button, navel, the forgotten trapdoor. The belly button is the ultimate out-of-sight, out-of-mind area. It's small, tucked in, and rarely visible, especially for older adults with mobility challenges or weaker eyesight. But what many don't realize is that the navel is a closed cavity that easily collects sweat, dead skin cells, soap residue, bacteria, even lint and oils from clothing. Left uncleaned, this microclimate becomes the perfect breeding ground for anaerobic bacteria, which thrive in dark, moist environments. Over time, this can lead to localized infections, and in some cases like Richard's, low-grade systemic inflammation, a slow, invisible burden on the liver and immune system. And the worst part? You often don't notice until it becomes a bigger problem. How to clean it properly. Use a damp washcloth or a cotton swab with mild soap once every few days. Be gentle, especially if you have an innie. Don't overdo it, but don't ignore it either. Underscore. Behind the ears, a hidden hotspot for bacteria. When was the last time you intentionally washed behind your ears? It's not just about hygiene, it's about circulation and lymph drainage. The area behind the ears is full of sebaceous glands, which produce oil. As we age, the skin here becomes drier, and buildup accumulates more easily. If left uncleaned, it can result in itchy, scaly skin, fungal overgrowth, a strange, sour smell you may not even notice, but others will. More importantly, persistent infection or irritation in this area can stress the lymphatic system, one of your body's key defenses against illness. When bacteria linger near lymph nodes, it's like placing a traffic jam on your immune highway. The fix is simple. When you wash your face or shampoo your hair, take an extra 10 seconds to gently scrub behind each ear with warm water and soap. For dry skin, Use a fragrance-free moisturizer after. Under the breasts and belly folds. As people age, especially in larger-bodied individuals, the area under the breasts or in abdominal folds can become moist, warm pockets where skin touches skin. Perfect conditions for yeast, mold, and bacteria. This is especially common in postmenopausal women or elderly men with abdominal fat. Why it matters? Infections in these areas don't just stay local. The skin becomes inflamed, raw, and even cracked, allowing harmful microorganisms to enter the bloodstream. This can contribute to chronic low-grade inflammation, which is increasingly linked to heart disease and even respiratory issues. Richard's blood work later revealed that some of his inflammatory markers were traced back to persistent irritation under his abdomen, not just his navel. How to prevent it? After showering, pat dry thoroughly under folds and consider applying an antifungal powder or cornstarch-based product. Clean daily with gentle soap and avoid synthetic fabrics that trap heat. The scalp, especially for short-haired or bald individuals. Yes, even if you're bald or have thinning hair, you still need to wash your scalp like skin. The scalp is rich in sebaceous glands, and buildup of oil, skin flakes, and pollutants can cause scalp acne, fungal infections, itchy patches that open the skin barrier. But here's the twist. Dirty scalp conditions can actually cause immune overactivation in older adults, especially those with existing autoimmune issues or compromised immune systems. This overactivation leads to, you guessed it, more inflammation in the body. And the kicker? People with no hair often skip shampoo altogether, thinking they don't need it. Simple fix. Even if bald, gently scrub your scalp 2 to 3 times per week using a mild shampoo or cleansing wipe. Rinse thoroughly and moisturize if dry. The nail beds, tiny cuts, big risks. It's not just about washing your hands. It's about cleaning underneath the nails and around the nail folds where pathogens hide. For seniors with weakened skin integrity or those managing diabetes, this area becomes incredibly vulnerable. Micro tears or hangnails can introduce bacteria that bypass the skin entirely. Richard, in fact, also had inflammation around his cuticles that had gone unnoticed. Once his doctor prescribed topical care and consistent nail cleaning, his inflammatory levels began to drop. What's the danger? Small infections in the nail bed have been linked to endocarditis, a heart infection, especially in people with existing heart valve conditions. It's rare, but serious. How to protect yourself? Use a soft nail brush and shower. Clean under the nails gently, especially after gardening, cooking, or touching animals. Moisturize your hands and cuticles after washing. The pattern. Inflammation begins where we least expect it. Here's what Richard's story, and countless others, teaches us. Neglecting small parts of the body doesn't just cause discomfort. It can wear down the immune system, drain the liver, and set off low-level inflammation that worsens chronic disease. And the tragedy? These are places we could clean if only we knew to. But now you do. In the next section, we'll explore the science behind how skin bacteria can affect internal organs and why older adults are more at risk. We'll also uncover a few cultural habits from around the world that could help you form healthier, cleaner, longer-lasting routines. Now let's move into Section 3. This section deepens the narrative by exploring why these hygiene oversights are more dangerous as we age, and explains how skin bacteria and inflammation can silently affect internal organs. To keep emotional flow intact, we'll continue through Richard's journey, but we'll now bring in science, global insights, and gentle empowerment. Richard had always considered himself healthy. Sure, he wasn't as fast on his feet as he used to be, and his memory occasionally played tricks on him. But he stayed active, ate reasonably well, and kept up with his doctor visits. So how did something as basic as hygiene turn into a systemic health issue? The answer lies just beneath the surface, literally. The skin isn't just a barrier. It's an organ that talks to every other system. Most of us think of the skin as a shell, a passive covering. But your skin is alive, an active, intelligent organ that interacts constantly with your immune system, nervous system, and endocrine system. And what happens on the skin doesn't stay on the skin. When bacteria, fungi, or viruses penetrate even slightly through dry cracks, inflamed follicles, or neglected folds, they trigger an immune response. This response involves the release of cytokines, chemical messengers that travel through the bloodstream. In small, controlled doses, this is your body protecting you. But in older adults, especially those over 60, this process is slower, less efficient, and more prone to overreacting. Over time, this creates what doctors call chronic low-grade inflammation, also known as inflammaging. What is inflammaging? It's not a buzzword. It's a scientifically documented process where aging immune systems become hyperactive but less precise. The body sends out inflammatory signals too often. Organs like the liver, heart, and lungs suffer subtle, long-term damage. In fact, studies from the Journal of Gerontology have shown that seniors with chronic skin infections, even minor ones, had significantly higher risks of cardiovascular disease over time. One study even linked poor foot and nail hygiene with a 30% increased chance of respiratory complications in patients over 70. So yes, washing your feet correctly could protect your lungs. It sounds strange, but it's real. Underscore. The heart. Why it suffers first. The heart is deeply connected to inflammation. When bacteria breach the skin, your liver kicks into overdrive to produce acute phase proteins like CRP, C-reactive protein. High CRP levels are one of the strongest predictors of heart attack and stroke, even in people without high cholesterol. In Richard's case, his liver had been producing low-level CRP for months, silently stressing his cardiovascular system. He didn't feel sick, but the numbers told the story. And it all started from two tiny problem areas: his belly button and the irritated skin under his abdomen. The lungs. A surprising connection. Your lungs aren't isolated. They're supported by your lymphatic system, your circulation, and your immune signals, all of which are impacted by chronic skin inflammation. In some cases, skin-resident bacteria like Staphylococcus aureus can migrate or release toxins that trigger lung inflammation in vulnerable individuals. In one study, elderly nursing home residents with poor hygiene habits were twice as likely to suffer from recurring bronchitis or pneumonia. Not because of exposure, but because of internal vulnerability triggered by chronic skin irritation. When your skin is under attack, your lungs can feel it. But why does this happen more in older adults? Several reasons. Thinner skin. As we age, our skin loses collagen and fat, making it more fragile and easier to damage. Reduced sweat and oil production. This means fewer natural defenses against bacteria. Lowered immune response. The skin's ability to heal and protect decreases. Limited mobility. Reaching behind the ears, under the feet, or in a fold becomes harder and often gets skipped. Loss of sensory feedback. Many older adults don't feel irritation or itchiness in time to notice early signs of infection. All of these factors make small hygiene oversights far more dangerous than they were in your 30s or 40s. Cultural clues. What long-living societies do differently. So how do people in long-living cultures care for their skin differently? Let's look at a few. Underscore, 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 underscore. Japan, the ritual of bathing with intention. Japanese elders take bathing seriously, not just for cleanliness, but as a form of daily detoxification and mindfulness. The act of soaking in warm water, scrubbing gently with a soft towel, and cleaning creases with meticulous care is a cultural habit that extends into old age. This practice not only keeps the skin clean, but supports circulation and emotional regulation, both crucial to longevity. Underscore, 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 underscore. Turkey and Morocco, hammam bathing and lymphatic cleansing. In these cultures, communal bathing traditions like the hammam focus on deep exfoliation, scalp scrubbing, and underfold cleaning. More than vanity, these are considered preventative health practices. Many older adults in these regions report fewer chronic infections and better mobility, partially credited to regular full-body cleaning, including areas Westerners often ignore. Underscore, underscore. Scandinavia, alternating heat and cold showers. In places like Finland and Norway, saunas followed by cold plunges stimulate the immune system. But equally important is how elders clean the scalp and feet afterward, treating these areas not just as hygiene concerns, but as gateways to systemic health. Underscore, underscore. So what can you start doing today? Richard asked the same thing. And here's what his doctor told him, which will now pass to you. Start small. Pick one body part you often ignore. Make a habit of cleaning it intentionally every day. Set a routine. Use checklists or cues, like brushing your teeth, to remind you to reach behind ears, under folds, or clean the nails. Use gentle products. For aging skin, fragrance-free, pH-balanced cleansers reduce risk of microdamage. Dry thoroughly. After washing, gently pat dry, sensitive areas, especially folds, and moisturize if needed. Inspect weekly. Make it a Sunday habit to check your skin. Look for redness, cracks, flaking, or odor. These aren't just self-care tips. They're tools for protecting your organs from the inside out. As Richard followed this routine over the next 3 months, his energy began to return. His lab results improved, and perhaps most telling, he said he felt more present in his body again. I used to think getting older meant slowly fading, he told us. Now I see, sometimes it just means learning how to stay whole in new ways. Up next, we'll explore how one small shift in mindset, from cleaning out of habit to caring with purpose, can transform the way you feel in your own skin. And we'll introduce a simple 5-minute cleanse with care routine that anyone, at any age, can start using today. But before we go on, I want to pause for just a moment and ask you something. Backhand index pointing right, have you, or someone you love, ever dealt with a small skin issue, something you brushed off that turned out to be something bigger? Or maybe you've discovered a little habit, a quiet ritual that helps you feel more connected to your body each day? If so, I'd love for you to share it in the comments below. This video isn't just about information. It's about creating a space where we can learn from each other, no matter our age. Your story might help someone feel less alone. Your insight might spark someone else's healing. So when you're ready, scroll down and let us know. Speech Balloon, what's one thing you do to take better care of your body today than you did 10 years ago? Now let's keep going, where the narrative evolves from science and concern into something more transformational. This section is about healing, empowerment, and reconnection, not just with our bodies, but with the care and attention we give ourselves as we age. We'll deepen Richard's story, introduce the 5-minute cleanse with care ritual, and tie it to emotional well-being, dignity, and long life. Richard's life didn't change overnight. There was no dramatic music, no sudden miracle, just small, almost invisible shifts, the kind that are easy to miss unless you're paying close attention. A little more energy in the morning, softer skin under his arms, fewer itches, fewer mood swings, a sense of calm that started showing up after his morning shower. It wasn't just that his inflammation markers were dropping. It was that he had started caring for himself differently. When cleanliness becomes connection. For most of us, hygiene is a habit, a checklist, something we do automatically. Shower, shampoo, rinse, dry, done. But what if we shifted that mindset? What if instead of getting it over with, we treated those 5 to 10 minutes as a kind of healing check-in? What if, for older adults especially, cleansing became less about removing dirt and more about staying grounded in our bodies, in our breath, in the dignity of still being here? Because here's the truth most people don't talk about. As we age, the world begins to treat us as less physical, invisible in public spaces, unseen in advertising, treated as burdens to be managed, not bodies to be honored. But touch is still sacred. Cleanliness is still connection. And your body is still yours, worthy of attention, care, and respect. The psychology of gentle rituals. Researchers in geriatric psychology have long known that intentional daily rituals, even brief ones, improve not just hygiene outcomes, but also mood stability, memory recall, cognitive function, sleep quality, and even blood pressure. That's because a mindful routine activates the parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and repair state, which allows healing to take place. It's not woo-woo, it's science, and it's something we can reclaim, starting in the simplest of ways. The 5-minute cleanse with care routine. Here's the gentle ritual Richard adopted, and that thousands of older adults, or those caring for them, are now using to restore dignity and well-being to the daily act of washing. It only takes 5 minutes. No fancy products. No extra cost. Just intention. Begin with breath. Before even turning on the water, pause. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. Inhale through the nose. Hold for 3. Exhale softly through the mouth. Feel your body. Acknowledge its weight, its age, its resilience. Say silently or out loud, "This body has carried me here. Today, I take care of it." This grounds your nervous system, reduces cortisol, and reorients your attention inward, something we rarely do in a rushed world. Focus on one forgotten area. Choose one body part you usually skip or rush through, maybe behind your ears, your belly button, or under the folds of your abdomen. Don't just scrub. Touch with care. Notice the texture of your skin, the warmth of the water. Breathe into that connection. If you're assisting a loved one, narrate what you're doing gently. "I'm washing under your arm now. This skin deserves to feel clean." Affirmation matters. Dignity matters. Clean with circular motions. Use small, circular motions rather than harsh scrubbing. This helps stimulate blood flow and lymphatic movement. If mobility is a challenge, use tools like long-handled bath brushes, soft sponges, folded washcloths between the fingers for better grip. Don't rush. Let the water support you. This is about healing, not hurrying. Rinse and thank. As you rinse, mentally thank your skin. It sounds strange, maybe even silly, but the act of gratitude lowers stress, improves immunity, and releases serotonin. Try silently repeating, "Thank you, body. You're doing your best. And I'm here with you." This is a moment of reconnection, especially powerful for people who've spent years feeling disconnected from their aging body. Dry gently and moisturize with intention. Pat dry, not rub. Focus especially on under breasts or folds, between toes, behind the ears, between fingers. Then apply a light, fragrance-free moisturizer. As you do, treat it like an act of self-blessing. If this is being done by a caregiver, make space for eye contact. Touch becomes communication when words are hard to find. from clinical to sacred. You see, this isn't just about soap and water anymore. It's about reclaiming what it means to care for a body that's changed, not with shame, but with compassion. It's about turning a daily routine into a quiet act of self-preservation, healing, and even love. Richard once joked, "I never thought washing my ears would make me cry." But one day, standing in front of the mirror, towel wrapped around his shoulders, he looked at himself and said, "I've been here the whole time. I just stopped noticing." And that's the real risk of aging. Not just disease, but disconnection. Most conversations around health focus on what's wrong. But what if we started focusing on what's still working? The feet that still carry you to the mailbox. The hands that still button your shirt. The skin that still feels water, warmth, and care. Every time you step into the shower, you have a chance to reconnect with your breath, your body, and the life you're still living. That's what this video is really about. Richard didn't think a shower could change his life. But that wasn't really what changed. What changed was this. He stopped treating his body like a problem and started treating it like a partner. He still has aches. He still forgets things sometimes. But now, when he steps into the bathroom each morning, it's no longer something to rush through or survive. It's a reminder he's still here, still worthy of clean skin, still worthy of gentle hands, still worthy of small rituals that say, "I matter." Even now, especially now, maybe you've felt invisible lately. Maybe you've been carrying the quiet fear that age means slowly fading. But what if it doesn't? What if growing older isn't about losing yourself, but about learning to return to yourself, one small act at a time? Washing behind your ears, caring for your nail beds, thanking your belly for all it's held, touching your scalp like it still belongs to someone who deserves comfort, because it does. And if you're watching this for someone you love, a parent, a partner, a patient, know this. Every act of care is a kind of language. And every time you help them feel clean, you are saying, "You are still here, and I still see you." That's the power of presence. That's the gift of intention. Not dramatic, not flashy, but real. Like warm water, like soft towels, like a body well loved. Somewhere along the way, we learn to tune out the body, to treat it like a machine, to focus only when it hurts and forget it when it doesn't. But the body remembers. It remembers laughter in the joints, loss in the lungs, the weight of decades held quietly in the skin. So what if, just once a day, we remembered it too? Not with guilt, not with fear, but with care. What if your morning shower wasn't just something to finish, but something to feel? You don't need perfect health to feel at home in your body. You just need presence, warm water, and the choice to begin again, gently. Because whether you're 29 or 79, your body isn't gone. It's right here, still trying, still listening, still asking, "Will you take care of me today?" And maybe, just maybe, the answer can be yes.